Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Kylie Campbell, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Lieutenant Lucas Page. This evening, we warmly welcome, representing the Air Force Association, Wing Commander Dr. Marianne Whiting, retired. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services Leagues of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial, students on behalf of the Cathedral of St Anne and St James visiting from Muddingborough, Queensland, and Elangula Area School visiting from Northern Territory. Australia's Federation Guard is the tri-service ceremonial unit of the Australian Defence Force. They provide a ceremonial presence at civil and military events and during visits to Australia by foreign dignitaries. The Guard will now dismount the catafalque party from the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Catafalque party, attention! Catafalque party, present! Arms!
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden
Students, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was a vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit and the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Flying Officer John Roberts, who was killed during the Second World War. John Roberts was born on the 23rd of April 1920 in the Adelaide suburb of Bowden to Alfred and Doris Roberts. Growing up, he had a brother Bob and two sisters, Marjo and Ali. John was educated at Brightown Public School and Unley High School and went on to attend the Adelaide School of Mines. After leaving school, he worked as a salesman in the Opengara Woolen Company. Having served for 16 months with the 27th Battalion, on the 1st of October 1941, Roberts enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force, aged 21. He was trained as a pilot, later receiving his wings in July 1942, and was made sergeant that September. Roberts embarked for overseas service from Sydney on the 13th of November 1942, arriving in the UK in December as part of the Air Empire training scheme. He was one of almost 27,500 RAAF pilots, navigators, bomb aimers, wireless operators, and air gunners who joined Australian and British squadrons in Britain through the course of the war. Further specialist training followed in the UK, and in March 1943, Roberts was promoted to flight sergeant. That September, he was commissioned as a pilot officer and posted number 467 Squadron, Royal Australian Air Force. But 2 months later, he was transferred to number 463 Squadron. As part of Bomber Command, it flew the 4-engine Arvo Lancaster heavy bomber. On the night of the 15th of March 1944, Bomber Command launched a major bombing raid on Stuttgart. Now a flying officer, Roberts was the pilot of the Lancaster JOJ, which took off from Morrill Air Force Base, Waddington, shortly after 7 p.m. The mission was later described as being an almost complete failure, beset with unexpected winds and heavy enemy resistance. Number 463 Squadron committed 17 aircraft to the mission, and only one Lancaster, JOJ, failed to return. It was later determined it had crashed near Cornwestheim, some 10 kilometers north of the target. There were no survivors. Those killed in the crash with Flying Officer John Roberts were Australian Flight Sergeants Stanley Palmer and James Benzie, along with New Zealand Pilot Officer Jack Childs, DFC, and British Airmen Pilot Officer Peter Brown and Sergeants Ronald Peed and James Willoughby. After the war, the remains of the Commonwealth servicemen buried in Europe were examined and identified where possible. The remains of Roberts' crew were found, having been buried by the Germans at Kornwestheim and Ludingsberg. Roberts himself could not be identified, as he was buried in a communal grave with his fellow airmen. They were all reinterred in the Dönbach War Cemetery in Bayern, and today rest there under the inscription, "Ever remembered by his loved ones." He was 23 years old. Roberts was posthumously awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross, which was presented to his father in 1946. The citation read, "Flying Officer Roberts has completed as pilot and captain of aircraft many successful operations against the enemy, in the course of which he has inevitably displayed high skill, fortitude, and devotion to duty." Flying Officer John Roberts' name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flying Officer John Roberts, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
Shoulder, arms.
They should grow not old as we are left to grow old. Age should not weary them, nor the years condemn. By the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Catapult party, present. Arms. Catapult party, shoulder, arms.
Lest we forget.
Catapult party, outwards. Turn. Catapult party.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man, lying out there at Pozières, or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.